There's only been, I believe, in my opinion, honestly, only one good X-Men game, right? And with the release of X-Men 97, a reimagination of what we had back in the olden days, I think we should do the same for gaming. And the one game that they did have that was good was X-Men Next Dimension. Now this game right here was actually a good game. Probably one of the top tier fighting games, honestly, my opinion. IMO. All this is based off my opinion. But let me open up your minds real quick. Throw that over there, right? That shit fell. Let me open up your minds a little bit, right? So what if we take Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, remake, either one. A little bit of stealth combat, maybe on the sorts of the line of Last of Us, Uncharted, maybe. And maybe a good decision-based system game. Put it into an X-Men game. Now, let me open your minds up and give you a story, my dear listeners. So the story, chapter 1, her story. It starts off kinda, maybe, just like X-Men, the old one. We start off with Jubilee and how Jubilee gets to this part. We're gonna make it a little dark. We're gonna make it a little deep right here. Jubilee has lost both her parents, her mom and her dad. She goes to the grave to visit them, and under and through that emotional damage, the turmoil, the hurt, the pain, she's crying. But while she's crying, her mutant abilities activate, and her hands will be over her head just like this, but her fingertips will be shooting fireworks into the air. Now see, you have to open your mind and imagine this. Now I know there's some people out there that when you can't imagine certain things, I know that, but just listen. Just listen. It's gonna make sense. It's gonna make sense. I promise you. I swear to it. And in this game, we're gonna have the Sentinels. So these Sentinels lock on to her position, and you would have to play through a sorts of her running through the graveyard while the Sentinels are shooting at her and blowing up people's graves. And there is one grandmother that flies and hits the camera as you're playing. So it's literally just like, boom, it hits you and just like falls off. It's supposed to be a little funny moment to break the tenseness and the battle action, right? So you run all the way till you get to the mall. And then that's when you get to the mall, the X-Men pull up. And you may ask, what X-Men are you putting in this game? Because there's a lot of X-Men. There's so many, and they have so many different power systems. How it's gonna work for a single player game, but you can bounce through all of the characters. Let me tell you. We have on team 1, Cyclops, Wolverine, Jean Grey, and Rogue. And on team 2, we have Storm, Beast, everyone's favorite Gambit, and Jubilee. But Jubilee will be available after this mission. But within mission 1, chapter 1, you're able to pick any character you want. Beast, Cyclops, Wolverine, he's about to get a game. Maybe try somebody else. Gambit, Rogue, Jean Grey. I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm giving you options. I'm giving you my personal ones. I'm giving you my personal options. Why my camera out of focus? There we go. We back in. We locked right on in. You feel me? And so since we're doing that, you know what I'm saying, you defeat the Sentinels, and then you will escort Jubilee back to the X mansion, where she will then meet Professor X. And that's the ending of chapter 1. Chapter 2 follows the previous mission, where Trask will hop on the national television and tell the world that the mutant, the attack that happened at the mall was caused by a mutant. It wasn't. It was caused by Sentinels, but the mainstream media don't know that, and they're just blaming the mutants because they don't know them. All that well. You feel me? Now let me cook one more time. Once again, I do say so myself. I know I'm going pretty fast, but this is a pretty good video and I like it. I like doing shit simple and clean. Hey, speaking of simple and clean, I need to hit that like button, the subscribe button, and leave a comment or two. Let me know how you liking the story so far, even though we on chapter 2. Since he made that mainstream media announcement, he will be presenting new Sentinels and mutant collars. Now, the mutant collars may sound a little familiar. If you watched Deadpool, right? It may sound a little familiar, okay? The Sentinels will be a more stronger, more faster, more powerful version of the Sentinels that you would be fighting in the beginning of the game. And mind you, the Sentinels that you're fighting at the beginning of the game and during the open world segments and all this, those Sentinels are human-sized Sentinels. I'm not like, I know it's a big staple for the X-Men to fight them giant-sized creatures, but look, this is for a company. This is for Square Enix specifically, because they did not fumble the bag with Guardians of the Galaxy. They fumbled the bag with Marvel's Avengers. They did. They fumbled the bag pretty heavy with Marvel's Avengers, but Guardians of the Galaxy, that shit slap. So I'm giving this to them for free. I don't want no compensation. I ain't gonna lie. Marvel, DC, just hit me up in the writer room. Hey, me and my homie, Tayhavemercy. Hit us up. You know what I'm saying? My email. Just go to my Twitter. Tweet at me. Something. I don't know. And get us in the writing room. We gonna make a banger. We gonna make a banger game, movie, TV show. Hey, music maybe too. I don't know. I'm just saying we gonna be doing some crazy shit. So with Trask announcing that they're gonna do the collars and a stronger, more powerful version of the Sentinels, this is where the decision-based gameplay comes into effect, right? So with this decision-based gameplay, you have two options. You have option 1, which option 1 would be going to stop the Sentinels, because it's going to be 2 different warehouses. So it's going to stop the Sentinels, or you're going to stop the collars, right? Now listen. This was crazy. Just doing this was crazy. Now listen. This is not going to be like any other decision-based game where the decisions really don't matter. This one has long-term ramifications. If you choose the collar mission, you will have no collars for the rest of your game, right? Your gameplay experience. But you will have stronger Sentinels. And when I say stronger Sentinels, I don't mean like the difficulty. I mean they can copy your abilities. So really on some Days of Future Past shit. You feel me? You feel me? But if you choose the Sentinels, you stop the Sentinels, but you have to deal with the collars later on. And honestly, it's my personal choice. I pick the collars every time. Not the I choose the collars every time. Every time I'm choosing the collars. And I say, you ask me why are you gonna choose the collars? Because the collars actually would nullify your abilities for 60 seconds. Will nullify your abilities for 60 seconds. So you're going to be doing straight hand-to-hand combat. And if you know anyone, you know, Jean Grey, Cyclops, Wolverine, Beast, Gambit, they maybe could hold their own. Jubilee. If you know any of these characters, you're not going to be able to do hand-to-hand combat for 60 seconds. You're going to die immediately. Your team's going to get cooked. I don't know what to tell you. I genuinely don't know what to tell you. You're going to get cooked. What does T-Bank say? Put you on the plate, flip yourself over, add some seasoning to yourself because you're cooked.
Wrap it up.
That's what's going to happen to you. I'm just saying that's what's going to happen to you. But in the long run, it will, it'll help because the game doesn't get easier. Like Spider-Man 2, they got easier through time. This game doesn't get, you play this bitch on the hardest difficulty, you're cooked. I'm telling you, you're cooked. I made the game up here. I made the game. You're cooked. But you pick one team. You pick either Team A, and that's one with Cyclops, Wolverine, Jean Grey, and Rogue. Or you pick Team B with Storm, Beast, Gambit, and Jubilee. Now you're asking, why is Jubilee on the team? Jubilee needs that experience. And you're going to see why later on in the game, why Jubilee needs that experience, but she needs that experience, right? So let's, for instance, say you choose either one, either mission. You know what I'm saying? Either mission, you choose one. You will play as a team that you chose that mission. So if you chose Callers, you're gonna go play on Callers. The other team is going to go play the other scenario, ultimately losing. And this is what starts Chapter 3, the Brotherhood. Whoa, big name drop right there, right? I know. Come here, let me go. So after you make that first choice, you go on the mission that the other team will go on the mission that you didn't pick. You will play through that situation, ultimately losing. Team 2 will be captured, then experimented on. But since Team 2 lost, Team 2 won because you went with them, you helped, you actually matter, you don't matter, you know what I'm saying? In some of these games, you don't really matter. You matter in this one, right? You matter. Get help, please. But since Team 2 lost, Professor Charles Xavier will then send you to go rescue Team 2, which you will ultimately end up losing that battle as well, because if you chose the Callers will be a big effect for you. If you chose the Sentinels will be a big effect for you, right? You end up losing, your team ends up getting experimented on, correct? Come here. Professor X then calls up, you already know who it is, Magneto. He calls him up, and then the game will cut. It will be a cutscene. That call will be a cutscene, and it will go to Magneto ripping open the warehouse where the X-Men is being held with Professor Charles Xavier and the Blackbird, right? But it's not just Magneto. We have Wanda and Quicksilver. Whoa, two big names. I know. Let me go. Wanda's gonna be in the game because we have some shit planned. There's gonna be a big, expansive universe, and it's gonna be better than the MCU. I swear to it. I promise you. I know it's a bold take. I know some of you dick writers are gonna be all in my comments just being like, oh, you said it's gonna be better than MCU, but you don't have any views. I don't give a fuck. It's gonna be bigger than MCU. This video doesn't do well, I'm still going to upload this because this is fun. I ain't gonna lie, this is very fun. My take on this shit is fun, and you know what I'm saying? I just have to rep one time. You're not gonna hear me, but I'm the king of games, so I need to. Let me cook. So Wanda and Quicksilver. If you played the old Justice League game, specifically this one, you will know there was the Flash gameplay in this one. And I'm gonna have it playing on the screen right here. I'm gonna have some cutscenes playing this entire time, right? But you're going to have the Flash here, correct? Quicksilver is gonna play like the Flash from this game, but it's gonna be updated quality to where it's going to look nice and feel nice. One, it's not gonna be top down. This game was top down. I don't really like top down games, but this one, because it has some of my favorite heroes in it, I'm gonna play it. You know what I'm saying? Look, that one's gone too, right? So you're gonna be back facing, like kind of, over the shoulder type shit, but it's gonna look good, I promise. Now listen. You know what I'm saying? If you can see the vision, that's how it's gonna look. Wanda's powers are gonna play sort of like, I guess we could say, something of Hogwarts Legacy. It's hard because I haven't really seen too many magic users in video game media, and that's probably because it's just the games that I play. I don't really see them. You know what I'm saying? So if you do have one game that's gonna have some magic into it that you know off the top of your head, like, oh, how should Wanda play? Leave in the comment section. I'll probably look look through it. You know what I'm saying? I'll probably look through it. If I find a clip of a game, I'll probably just insert that. So Wanda should play like, you know what I'm saying, kind of like some Hogwarts, you know, but instead of using the sticks, using her hands, and her magic's gonna be red and shit like that. They ultimately end up freeing the X-Men. The X-Men will join the battle and help them defeat the Sentinels. Once that happens, Magneto is like, remember our promise. And you're gonna ask, what is that promise? That promise will get answered chapter 5. So don't worry about it right now, brother. Don't worry about it right now. Chapter 4, the promise. And when I say this promise, it's kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? Let me talk to you. Yeah, right. So at the end of chapter 3, Magneto tells Charles not to forget the promise that they made. We then follow Magneto back to Genosha. Yes, Genosha's a thing already in this universe, right? He calls Scarlet Witch, Wanda, and yes, I'm gonna say it, Sabretooth, into the little mansion that he has, right? And he tells them that helping the X-Men was a one-time thing because Sabretooth was pissed because you know he be fiending for a little action fight against Wolverine or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So he was upset. He told him that this was going to be a one-time deal and it's never going to happen again. You feel what I'm saying? We then cut back to the facility that we were just at, that the X-Men just escaped and Magneto just left. And we are hearing Trask argue and yell at the top of his lungs, saying, "The mutants! How did we let them get away? We shouldn't have done that. What did we do wrong?" And there's a doctor that gets a call and says, "Not right now," and hangs up. Trask then goes to that doctor and tells him that did you get everything you needed out of the mutants, out of the X-Men? And the doctor is like, "No, I didn't. We couldn't break through. Our technology isn't that strong." You feel me? It's not that strong. So he's like, and gets mad and storms to his office. At this moment, while he's walking away, he says, "I will kill every mutant to ever exist." Here is where the stealth combat comes into play. And by stealth combat, I mean, yes, we're playing as, oh boy, Mystique. And I'll tell you, if you can envision this in your mind, this is such a cool gameplay experience, right? So what you would want to do with Mystique's abilities and gameplay, every guard there has a code. You will need to go and impersonate every single guard to get the code. The code will be on a ID banner that they have on the back of them. It's just gonna be a random number, and you have to get every single number to get into that office. Once you get into that office though, right, we're gonna break the combat down probably in another video, maybe in the future, because I know some of this combat, I'm trying to just breezing through the combat right now. It's important, but it's not that important. I kind of want this story out, you feel me? We then get into the office, and once we get into the office, Mystique is then blindsided. She's hit back in this little small part of your brain right here. This little small part of your brain, CTE, cranium, right here, back here. This little small part. She gets hit right back there, giving her, what is it called? CTE. And then, Trask was like, "Oh, I got one." And this is where we then move into chapter 5, the promise. We start the chapter off following the X-Men back into the X Manor. Professor X calls all the X-Men to Cerebro to tell Storm and Rogue that they have a mission to go to Genosha. Once they leave to go to Genosha, we then get a meeting of sorts with Cyclops, Wolverine, Jean Grey, Gambit, Jubilee, Beast, all the X-Men that we are playable right now. We get a meeting between all of them, right? And when we get this meeting between all of the X-Men that we have right now in this current position, we then get told what the promise was. The promise was that Professor X will send Rogue to Magneto as a trade-off for helping them, right? And you're asking, that maybe does not sound like something Professor X would do. And if you read some of the comics that came out, Professor X isn't that good of a guy. I'm not gonna lie to you. There was this one specific comic, I forgot the title, I'm probably gonna put the picture up though, where he had a secret X-Men that he basically used as like DC's version of the Marvel's version of the Suicide Squad, and to send them on suicidal missions, right? But yeah, that's just a little backstory of why we picked that version of Professor X. So Cyclops then says, what? That's not what we do. He's confused, but he's like confused, but he kind of, it's a weird dichotomy of Cyclops right now, right? Wolverine, it's classic Wolverine, he gets mad, but Gambit gets the maddest, because if you know, Rogue and Gambit kind of have a thing going on. So he's like, hey, what the fuck, and storms out. He leaves the X-Men. Gambit is gone. I know some people want to play as Gambit. Y'all are gonna love playing as Gambit, I promise you. It sounds so cool, it sounds so fun on paper, you know what I'm saying? Having the cards that light up, having the bow staff, it's amazing. 10 out of 10, right? We then get a little side skedaddle between Wolverine and Cyclops, and it's not of leadership, it's not for Jean Grey, it's because Wolverine knows that this is wrong. So does Cyclops, but Cyclops is gonna go with it because he trusts Professor X with all of his inner being, his inner dialogue, but he questions it, right? So we also then pick up with Storm and Rogue heading off to Genosha. You'll play through a little battle scenes, you know, you have to fight some Sentinels, you have to fight some Purifiers, but you then make it to the boat to go to Genosha. So then they get to Genosha and a little fight breaks out. It's a 2v2 fight with Storm and Rogue and Quicksilver and Wanda, right? You know what I'm saying? Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver versus Storm and Rogue. They duke it out for a little bit, and then Magneto pulls up and tells them to stop. And he tells Storm to get out of here. Your services are no longer needed. Storm already knew the mission going into it, so she just left. Rogue was confused. She was like, what's happening? What's going on? Type shit like that, right? Then Magneto takes Rogue and explains everything to her. Now, the reason that you're asking, why did they do this promise? Why did this happen? It's because Mystique is Rogue's mom, and she wanted them back. Professor X knew that. Magneto knew that. That's why Magneto did what he did. It was in good faith, but it was not under the good circumstances. And you're asking, why is this like one of the big plot points of the game, right? It's because Rogue always wanted to meet her mom. Rogue always wanted to meet that family aspect. If you watch X-Men Evolution, this is kind of what I'm basing Rogue's character off of. And she always wanted to meet her mom. She was always talking to Jubilee. And because there's going to be little side parts, little open world, little missions things. She was always talking to Jubilee about meeting her parents, because how we got Jubilee is she was at her parents' graves, powers activated, bada bing, bada boom, with this guy in the room. That's what happened. You know what I'm saying? So from there, he just explains everything, and she starts to develop a deep, deep hatred for Professor X, which would carry us over into chapter 6. Changes. And for that one, we're gonna drop this one the next time the X-Men episode drops. With that being said, be easy breezy, beautiful like CoverGirl. Remember, whatever happens. And if there's something that you want to leave in the comments, go ahead. I would love to see any feedback. If you think this is gonna be a fire idea, if you think it's not, I would love to see any feedback. I'm still gonna upload this regardless. I'm still gonna finish this series out. We're still gonna make this expansive universe. It's gonna be very fun. Hope you're along the ride with me. But yeah, later.